Who's ready for some football? We are inching ever closer to the start of the regular season, which kicks off on Thursday, September 5th. I'm continuing my preview tour now with the third place team from the NFC West in 2023, and that was the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks were a competitive team last year. They finished with a winning record, going 9-8. But they were just third in the NFC West and they missed out on the playoffs. That led to some off-season staffing changes. Pete Carroll is out, and Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald is in now as head coach of the Seahawks. Offensively, their core skill position players are back, but how will they start with the offseason changes? In addition to coaching, most of the big changes came defensively. The Seahawks saw some longtime stars like Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams depart. They also lost linebacker Devin Bush, defensive end Mario Edwards. Offensively, the team lost other key role players. Running back DJ Dallas left in free agency, as did tight ends Will Dissly and Colby Parkinson. Meanwhile, backup quarterback Drew Lock left and took a similar position with the New York Giants. In the draft, the Seahawks focused on building up the lines. They spent a first-round pick on defensive tackle Byron Murphy and a third-round pick on tackle Christian Haynes. The team beefed up the lines in free agency too, grabbing Leonard Hankins for the defensive line and George Fant for the offensive line. They also grabbed veteran Dolphins linebacker Jerome Baker, but the biggest addition might have been a trade for former Washington quarterback Sam Howell. Howell started all 17 games for the Commanders in 2023. He finished as QB12 with 2 years left on his rookie deal. Howell gives him an intriguing young player behind veteran Geno Smith. But moving to the fantasy prospects, let's start at quarterback. Smith is in the last year of his deal and is now in his third year as the presumed starter for the Seahawks. He isn't flashy, but he finished as a solid QB 19 and 23. Smith figures to be the starter at the outset and likely has low-end QB2 potential. But if the Seahawks struggle, I think the team will want to see what they have in Howell. While he struggled with turnovers, Howell slung the rock for the Commanders and could be a bit of a boost for the Seahawks receivers. In the backfield, it's the same tandem of Ken Walker III and Zach Charbonnet that we had last year. Walker finished as running back 19, missing a couple of games last year. Charbonnet, a rookie, was a good complimentary back. He finished as running back 45. I still like Walker as the lead back, but with Grubb, this could be a more pass-friendly offense. Still, I like Walker as a low-end running back 2 and Charbonnet in the running back 4 flex range. The question is receivers. The Seahawks have a great trio of receivers, including second-year player Jackson Smith-Njigba, who they drafted last year. Last year, DK Metcalf led the way at wide receiver 21. Veteran Tyler Lockett was wide receiver 32, and JSN was just wide receiver 48. But I like him to step up in his second year and take over kind of the number 2 option in the passing game. I still like Metcalf to finish in the wide receiver 2 range. I like JSN as a high-end wide receiver 3. I think Lockett's still going to be a viable flex option, but probably closer to where JSN finished last year, down in the wide receiver 5 range. At tight end, the Seahawks brought back Noah Fant. He'll have significantly less competition for targets with Parkinson and Dissly gone, but he's still the 4th or 5th option in the passing game. I think he's a tight end 2 at best. I am not buying in on his big breakout with the Seahawks, as some people have suggested. I think they have too many other wide receiver options. So that brings us to how do we think they will finish? Well, the Seahawks were still a winning team last year, even though it didn't always feel like it. They were 9-8, but I think it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle for them this year. I think they're in the midst of a rebuild. I don't think Geno Smith is probably the long-term answer at quarterback. We will probably get a chance to see Howell down the stretch to see how he fares, but I think the Seahawks are a 4th-place team in the NFC West. I don't think they'll be in the playoffs, and I suspect it might be a struggle for the team at some during this season, so it could be a long season for Seahawks fans.